Hello and welcome to the CrusadeIT series on beginning BIGIP Basics. In this first video, we're going to go over how to set up a BIGIP from scratch. In this particular example, we will be using a BIGIP Virtual Edition running version 13.0. This is running on an ESXi box. So, let's get started. So first you're going to see the setup screen. Once you've gotten to the setup screen, you're going to see the next button. You're going to activate the license. Our F5 sales engineers kind enough to provide us with an evaluation edition. So we're going to do a manual here because we do not have the setup for DNS yet. You're going to highlight and select all the text from the dossier. Then you're going to access the F5 licensing server with a link below there. As you will see, the F5 licensing server comes up. You're going to paste your dossier into here and then hit next. You will be prompted with the end user license agreement, which you have to accept. So click the checkbox, hit next. And then you're going to be prompted with the actual license. And once you have the actual license, you're going to copy the entire text of the license. And you're going to paste that back in on the setup screen as you see here. Okay, so paste this in, and then we're going to scroll down and move on to the next part here after you hit next. Okay, so I cut out the activation time there to save you a bit. Now here you have some options: management, small, medium, large. Same thing with local traffic manager where you have dedicated, nominal, or minimum. We're going to leave them defaults, and that's what you should do in most production environments. So you're going to scroll down to the bottom and hit next. Now, after you've done resource provisioning, this is the device certificate. We're going to hit next here and leave the default certificate. Now we're going to put in some information. So host name here, we call this BIGIP Lab 01. And you need a fully qualified domain name here, so you see us putting in the full domain name here. Change the time zone. Since we are based in Oklahoma, we will select Chicago as the city that represents our time zone. Then you're required to change root and admin password. So we're going to do admin. I do this backwards here, and I fix it on the back end. It's going to prompt you to let you know that you must log back in after changing those passwords. And once the system has done that, you're going to see login. I cut out the part where I flipped the passwords by accident. Okay, so here we get into the BIGIP, and we have two options here: standard or advanced. You should almost always select advanced and hit finish. We'll finish up the basics from the normal admin screen that you see here. So we're going to go down and click on network, and from there we're going to select VLANs and hit create. And we're going to create the internal VLAN. So I already created the external VLAN because it needed to make this video on our network. I'm going to go ahead and add the interface in, leaving it untagged unless you need VLAN tagging. Hit finish. That will create your VLAN. Next, we're going to have to do the self IP address for that internal VLAN. Here, I'm just going to click that plus button. You have to give the object a name, and then we're going to give it an IP address. So here, internal self IP, and for our internal server network, 10.0.1, and I'm going to choose .5, which is free, a 24-bit subnet mask here, and then tell it the VLAN is going to be attached to, and also the port lockdown settings. Internal VLANs allow default is fine, which allows 8443, 4353, and also 8443 out and 22. So here we go. We've got the self IPs done. We're good there. Yeah, we've got to go in and we're going to put in our default route. So we'll just call this object default_GW, destination 0.0.0.0. Same for the net mask, which you see I start to type the default 24 and correct myself. And then in this case, we're going to use gateway and we're going to put in the gateway address. This is the gateway to the outside world for us. And finally, two other things that we need to do is we need to configure DNS and we need to configure NTP so that we have our time settings correct. So you go down under System and under Configuration and under Device, and we're going to select NTP. We'll just use the default standard time.nist.gov and add that in. So you click Add, and then you're going to hit Update. And it's going to load in. There we go. And now we're going to go up to DNS. We'll select DNS. And in this case, we're just going to use good old Google's 8.8.8.8 for our DNS lookups. But you should use whatever your internal DNS is in your environment. Then you're going to click Add. If you want to do DNS search domain list, you can do that, or any bind forwarders. We don't need that. We're going to hit Update. And it's going to take a second. It'll update the system to be able to do DNS resolution on the BIGIP itself. And that's it. That is the basics of getting a BIGIP configured, set up, and ready to go. I want to thank you for taking the time to check out this video. Please look forward to more videos being put out by CrusadeIT, specifically on the topics of F5 products and also on Palo Alto networks.